we are here today not just to unveil a statue that's made of bronze, but to pay homage to a man that 350 years ago settled upon the land upon which we are standing right now. 350 years later, Richard Smith's spirit and vision is still very much alive and well in our town, which took his name. Richard Smith knew then what we all know today. Smithtown was, and still is, a great place to live, work, and raise a family.
Thank you to the Damianos family. This is a special location for me too. I actually used to work right here on the third floor. And I know how much love that the Damianos family has for Smithtown. And as you look at this crowd, you are reminded with every glance of how great of a town this is, that you all would be here on what is a beautiful Saturday morning. This is Smithtown. What would this event be without the Smith family? And what would Smithtown's history be without all of your service still to this very day?
This is one of the best communities, best towns, anywhere in our region, our state, to live and to raise a family. And I want to thank my colleagues in government, particularly our longtime supervisor, Pat Vecchio, for their leadership, for his leadership in helping to keep Smithtown that beautiful place that it is. And of course, we know in the legend of the founding of Smithtown, the bull has been very prominent and has been very prominent physically for a long time. So it is nice to see the man who rode the bull getting his own statue right here in Smithtown.
Damianos family, elected officials, ladies and gentlemen. Very auspicious day today. It's a big day in terms of the size of the statue and its significance to the town of Smithtown. As you know, that Bull Smith received a patent from the king to settle this area, and he had to install 10 families, 10 property owners to get the town moving. Today, Smithtown is 117,000 residents. I don't know that Bill Smith could have ever imagined Smithtown as it is today. I don't imagine that he would think that some guy with an O at the end of his name would be making a speech about him. I would hope that Mr. Smith would be pleased with our stewardship of Smithtown, those in the past and those now. I would hope that Mr. Smith would be pleased with our stewardship of the Nisququogue River, the value we place in our parks, our 3 state parks, 6 county parks, and 24 town parks. I hope that he would appreciate our emphasis on sustainability. I would hope that he would be pleased with our commercial endeavors, including the largest industrial park in the Northeast. Mr. Smith, I hope, would say, Smithtown has done well with its schools, its religious institutions, and countless organizations. But mostly as we look at Mr. Smith's relatives, some who still call Smithtown home, I count the mayor of Nisqually, Richard Smith, as my good friend. It is my hope that Mr. Smith would proudly look at all the people and think that his legacy is a living legacy with a strong institution built on the values of the people. I would hope that Mr. Smith would say, well done. Thank you all.
Maybe it's just being involved with the village, or maybe it's because I'm a parent, or maybe it's just because I'm getting old. But I'm finding it more important these days to draw connections to, both our lineage and to our history. It's important to remember that the life that we enjoy today is due in large part to the work of those that came before us. And this statue is a great way to respect and honor not only our history, but the members of our family and of the Smythe family that join us here today. It's also important, I think, for our children to realize that people did some really great things before Instagram and YouTube were around to record them. Last, I would simply suggest to everyone here this morning and everyone that's going to pass by this beautiful statue to simply take a moment to appreciate where we are fortunate enough to live, to appreciate our neighbors, our children, our local business owners, and take a deep breath and remember those who worked so hard to make this place the place it is today. Thanks, folks. Have a great weekend.
Gathered here today to pay homage to the man who founded Smithtown 350 years ago. That man was Richard Smith, an Englishman who was given a patent on March 3rd, 1665. A patent is much like a land grant. And in Richard Smith's case, it was a document that validated Richard Smith's ownership to the land of the Nesquik Indians. In the Southampton records of September 17th, 1656. It is ordered by the General Court that Richard Smith to be banished out of the town. There is no explanation in the records as to why he was banished. What had he done? Dr. Smith felt that Richard got into difficulty with the Southampton townspeople because of his Quaker beliefs, and most likely led his Puritan neighbors to throw him out of their community. The Smiths apparently went directly to the newly established community of Setauket on the North Shore. Living in Setauket, Richard gave Richard a first-hand knowledge of the Nesquik River Valley area and started him thinking about obtaining these lands for himself. The lands that Smith coveted were owned by the Nesquik Indians who dwelt on both sides of the river. The Nesquik tribe was in turn dominated by the largest tribe of Indians on Long Island, the Montaukes, and their chief, Wyandanch. Wyandanch gave away the Nesquik lands to an Englishman named Lyon Gardner. And 4 years later, in 1663, Lyon Gardner sold these very same lands to Richard Smith. Then he sought a confirmation of his land title by applying for a patent from the newly appointed English governor of New York, Richard Nicolls. The Nicolls patent and 12 more years of protracted litigation with his Huntington neighbors, Richard Smith was finally able to realize his dream of becoming a truly independent landowner and patriarch of the town that bears his name. Sometime after receiving the Nicolls patent in 1665, Richard Smith moved his family onto the Nesquik lands in Nesquag and started the settlement that was to become Smithtown. So now, you know the real story. And I would just like to point out, it had nothing to do with a bull.
Please join me in a great round of appreciation for the Damianos family. Certainly all our dignitaries who have come to pay homage to us, our town, and our founder. You really honor us with your presence today. Thank you guys very, very much for coming. And that certainly includes Mr. Vecchio and the entire town board. I think one of the hallmarks of this town is the way that we govern ourselves, and what a tremendous job you and the entire town board and government does for the benefit of the citizens of this town. Thank you. I want to thank all my cousins who have traveled near and far. We have a large group of folks that have come across the country from California, Smith descendants, to be here at the unveiling of the statue. And I think the last thanks that we all owe is to our town founder, Richard Smith. This is a gentleman who died 323 years ago. Think of this. We are unveiling and honoring a statue in his honor today for what he's done for this town. And Pat Vecchio hit it so spot on. His mission was to come here, find a great place to raise his family and encourage additional families. If Smithtown's not known for anything else, it's family friendly. From our parks, our recreation, our schools, our local government, this town really is the hallmark of family life. It's Richard Smith's legacy, and it's being carried out by the town board to this day. At this point, I'm going to ask the 4 Smith descendants to gather at the statue. Mr. Caleb Schuring is going to be assisted by my nephew, Michael Schuring. And I think Brooks and Charlie are with their mom, Meg Edwards Epstein, direct descendant.